Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to try to tackle a question that I think we all kind of grapple with at some point.
Yeah.
How do we cultivate that unshakable faith,
Okay.
that deep down trust in Jesus Christ, even when life throws its inevitable curveballs our way?
Right.
And the source material we have today really digs into this.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to kind of unpack it with you.
Yeah, it's a fascinating exploration.
Yeah.
I think what's really striking is the way that this source differentiates between simply believing in something
Yeah.
and actually having faith.
Yeah, that jumped out at me, too. It's
Yeah.
like we can believe that gravity exists,
Right.
but do we really think about it every time we jump?
Right.
Faith seems to be more about that active trust,
Uh-huh.
that leap, even when you can't see the net.
Absolutely. It's about letting that belief permeate every aspect of your life,
Yeah.
influencing your actions and your decisions, even in the face of uncertainty or fear.
Okay, but that's easier said than done, right?
Sure.
Like, we all know the story of Peter walking on water with Jesus.
Right.
He starts out strong, full of faith,
Yep.
but then those waves kick up and doubt crashes in.
It's such a human moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even Peter, one of Jesus's closest disciples, falters, and
Yeah.
that's what makes the story so relatable.
Yeah.
It highlights that fact that doubt is a natural part of the faith journey.
So it's not about never having doubts, but about how we respond to them.
Precisely. The source emphasizes how Jesus doesn't rebuke Peter for his momentary lapse in faith.
Right.
He reaches out and lifts him up.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful illustration of grace and the ever-present opportunity to reconnect with that trust.
It's like no matter how many times we stumble, we can always choose to reach back towards that source of strength.
That's a powerful way to put it, and it ties in beautifully with this concept of walking by faith, not by sight.
Oh, yeah, that quote really struck me.
Yeah.
It's like, how often do we make decisions
Right.
based solely on what we can see or what makes logical sense in the moment?
Yeah.
But faith asks us to step beyond that, to
Right.
trust in something bigger, even when the path ahead isn't clear.
Think about a time when you faced a major life decision,
Okay?
maybe a career change or a relationship choice.
Yeah.
You couldn't possibly have all the information, all the
Yeah.
guarantees, but something inside urged you forward.
Yeah.
A sense of knowing that defied logic.
Uh-huh.
That, I think, is the essence of what this source is trying to capture.
And it's not just about those big life-altering moments, is it?
Right.
It's about applying that same principle
Yeah.
to everyday situations,
Yeah.
those little leaps of faith we take, constantly trusting that things will work out,
Yeah.
even when we can't see how.
That's an excellent point. It's about cultivating that mindset of trust
Yeah.
as a constant companion, a guiding principle that shapes our perspective and our choices.
This reminds me of something the source says that really got me thinking.
Okay.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I mean, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
It sounds almost paradoxical.
It is a bit of a mind bender, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think what's so powerful about this concept
Yeah.
is that it elevates faith beyond mere wishful thinking.
Okay.
It suggests that faith itself is a form of evidence,
Okay.
a tangible manifestation of the unseen.
Okay. And how can something unseen be evidence?
Yeah.
Struggling to wrap my head around that.
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
Imagine holding the deed to a house that hasn't been built yet.
Okay.
You can't see the physical structure,
Right.
but you have a document that proves its existence, its potential.
Right.
It's a guarantee, a promise of something to come.
So in that sense, faith is like the deed.
Uh-huh.
And our hopes and dreams are the house we're building,
Yeah,
even though we can't see the finished product yet.
exactly.
Okay.
And the source goes even further,
Okay.
challenging us with this question.
Okay.
If we can trust the people we interact with every day,
Yeah.
why not trust God even more? It's a bold statement that really invites us to examine the nature of trust itself.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But what about when people let us down?
Right.
Or when the things we hope for don't materialize?
Yeah.
How do we maintain that
Yeah,
trust,
yeah.
that faith, when it feels like we're getting mixed signals?
That's a very real struggle.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that doubt and uncertainty are natural parts of the human experience, even within the context of faith.
So we shouldn't feel ashamed or weak when those doubts creep in.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The source doesn't shy away from this reality.
Okay.
In fact, it seems to embrace the tension between doubt and faith,
Yeah.
suggesting that it's within that space of questioning and seeking that true faith is forged.
That's really reassuring, actually.
Right.
Because, let's face it,
Yeah.
we all have those moments where we question,
Yeah.
where we wonder if we're on the right path.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the source seems to be saying that those moments of questioning are not a sign of weakness. Okay. But rather an opportunity to deepen our understanding and to reaffirm our commitment.
It's like wrestling with those doubts can actually make our faith stronger in the end.
Precisely. It's about engaging in that internal dialogue, examining our beliefs, and ultimately choosing to trust even when it's hard.
So it's not about blindly accepting something,
Right.
but about actively choosing to believe even in the face of uncertainty.
Exactly. And that brings us to another crucial point that the source highlights.
Okay.
The idea that true faith is a commitment. You make a personal choice.
Okay.
It's not something that can be imposed or forced upon you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you can't force someone to love you.
Yeah.
They have to choose to love you freely.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
And I think it captures the essence of what this source is trying to convey.
Yeah.
Faith is a gift, but it's also a responsibility.
Right.
It's a choice we make every day to align ourselves with something greater than ourselves.
And that choice, the source suggests, has the power to lead us toward something truly extraordinary.
Right.
It uses the phrase great in his image to describe the potential that faith unlocks within us. I'm curious to explore that further, this idea of faith leading to greatness.
Okay.
What does it actually look like in practice?
Yeah.
What are the tangible ways that faith can empower us to live more fulfilling lives?
Those are great questions, and I think they're at the heart of what this source is inviting us to consider.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to shift gears and delve into some of the practical applications of these concepts.
Okay.
All right, so, when we talk about faith leading to greatness,
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in this idea of like worldly success or achievement.
Right.
But I think this source is pointing to something much deeper.
Okay.
Something more intrinsic.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's not about fame or fortune,
Right.
but about becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly.
About living a life that's aligned with our deepest values and purpose.
Exactly. And that's where the phrase "in his image" comes in.
Right.
It's not about striving to be God,
Right.
but about reflecting those qualities of love and compassion and creative power that are inherent in our very being.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So faith isn't just about believing in something outside of ourselves.
Right.
It's about believing in the potential that exists within us.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we are not just random beings adrift in a chaotic universe, but that we are created with a purpose, with a unique set of gifts and talents that are meant to be shared with the world.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
But it also raises the question,
Sure.
how do we actually tap into that potential?
Right.
How do we cultivate that deep down belief in ourselves?
Right.
Especially when we've been conditioned to doubt or downplay our abilities.
That's where the practical steps outlined in the source come in.
Okay.
It's not just about wishful thinking. It's about taking concrete actions to strengthen our faith and to nurture that interconnection with something greater.
Okay, so what are some of those practical steps?
Okay.
Give me a cheat sheet.
Well, first and foremost, the source emphasizes the importance of immersing ourselves in the Word.
Okay.
Not just passively reading Scripture, but really engaging with it, meditating on its meaning, and allowing its wisdom to seep into our hearts and minds.
So it's about letting those stories and teachings become a source of inspiration and guidance.
Yes.
A way to connect with the legacy of faith that has sustained people for centuries.
Absolutely. And it's not just about individual study.
Okay.
The source also highlights the importance of connecting with other believers.
Right.
Finding that community of support where we can share our struggles, celebrate our victories, and learn from each other's experiences.
Because faith thrives in connection.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you're surrounded by people who share your beliefs and values, it reinforces that sense of belonging and purpose.
Exactly. And it reminds us that we're not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
We all face challenges. We all have moments of doubt.
Right.
But when we come together in faith, we can draw strength and encouragement from one another.
The source also talks about prayer as a vital part of strengthening our faith.
Yeah.
But sometimes prayer feels like talking into a void.
Right.
How can we make it more meaningful, more impactful?
That's a question a lot of people grapple with. And I think the key lies in shifting our perspective on prayer.
Okay.
It's not just about presenting a list of requests or demands, but about cultivating a relationship with something greater than ourselves. It's about opening our hearts and minds to receive guidance, wisdom, and comfort.
So it's more about listening than speaking.
It's about finding that balance, that reciprocal flow of communication.
Okay.
It's about being present in the moment, acknowledging our gratitude, and expressing our needs and desires honestly and openly.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about creating that sacred space for connection, even amidst the busyness of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes the answers we receive through prayer aren't the ones we expect.
Right.
Sometimes they come in unexpected ways, through a chance encounter, a sudden insight, or a feeling of peace that washes over us when we need it most.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I've had those moments where I'm struggling with a decision,
Right.
and then out of nowhere, a book falls off my shelf.
Yeah.
Or I overhear a conversation that seems to speak directly to my situation.
Those synchronicities, those moments of divine intervention can be powerful reminders that we're not alone, that we're being guided and supported, even when we don't realize it.
Okay, but what about those times when we feel like our faith is being tested?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we're going through a difficult situation and it feels like our prayers aren't being answered?
Right.
How do we hold on to that trust when things aren't going our way?
That's where the source offers a really valuable piece of advice.
Okay.
It encourages us to look back at times when our faith did lead us through, when we faced challenges and emerged stronger on the other side.
Right.
Those experiences become powerful evidence of what's possible when we tap into that reservoir of inner strength.
You mean like those times when I totally bombed a presentation, but then ended up landing an even better opportunity?
Right.
Or when I went through a heartbreaking breakup, but came out of it with a deeper understanding of myself and what I truly want in a relationship.
Exactly. Those are the moments that shape our faith, that solidify our belief in something bigger than ourselves. It's about recognizing the patterns, the ways in which we've been guided and protected, even when we didn't realize it at the time.
So it's not about denying the struggles or pretending they didn't happen.
Right.
But about reframing them as opportunities for growth and learning?
Precisely. It's about trusting that even in the midst of difficulty, there's a purpose, a plan unfolding that we may not fully comprehend in the moment.
That takes a lot of courage, though, doesn't it?
It does.
To believe that something good can come out of even the most painful experiences.
It does, but that's where faith comes in.
Right.
It's that unwavering belief that even when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's still there guiding us towards a brighter future.
And that journey, the source suggests, has the potential to lead us towards a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment.
The source doesn't shy away from the fact that choosing to live by faith can be challenging.
Right.
There will be moments of doubt, moments when we question everything we believe in.
Yeah.
But it also suggests that within those moments of struggle, that our faith is refined. That it becomes something truly transformative.
So it's not about avoiding the hard stuff, but about leaning into it.
Right.
Knowing that it's through those trials that we discover our true strength and resilience.
That's a beautiful way to put it, and it brings us back to this idea of faith as a journey.
Yeah.
An ongoing process of growth and discovery.
A journey that requires us to step outside of our comfort zones, to trust in something beyond what we can see or control.
And a journey that has the potential to lead us towards a life of meaning, purpose, and yes, even greatness.
Okay, I'm really starting to grasp the depth of what this source is trying to convey.
Good.
But I have to admit, this whole idea of faith leading to greatness still feels a bit abstract.
Okay.
How do we make it more concrete, more applicable to our everyday lives?
That's a great question, and I think it's one that we all grapple with.
Yeah.
How do we translate these lofty concepts into tangible actions?
Right.
Into a way of life that reflects our deepest beliefs?
Maybe that's where we need to focus our attention next.
Okay.
To explore some specific examples of how people have lived out their faith in extraordinary ways.
Right.
How they've tapped into that inner potential to make a real difference in the world.
I love that idea because ultimately faith isn't just about personal transformation.
Right.
It's about impacting the world around us, about being a force for good in a world that desperately needs it.
So, as we're talking about this faith in action, I can't help but think about all the incredible people throughout history who have done these extraordinary things, seemingly impossible things, all because they believed in something bigger than themselves.
It's true. When you look back at those who have truly changed the world, the reformers, the healers, the peacemakers, there's often this unwavering thread of faith that runs through their stories.
Right. Like, think about Martin Luther King Jr. leading the civil rights movement, or Mother Teresa dedicating her life to serving the poorest of the poor, or Nelson Mandela fighting for justice and equality in South Africa.
Right.
These were people who faced immense opposition, incredible challenges, yet their faith fueled their perseverance, their unwavering commitment to their cause.
And what's fascinating is that their faith wasn't just about personal piety or religious observance. You know, it was about translating their beliefs into concrete action, into a force for positive change in the world.
It's like their faith wasn't just a Sunday morning thing. It was woven into the fabric of their lives, shaping their choices and driving their actions every single day.
Absolutely. And, you know, it doesn't have to be on that grand world-changing scale either. We can find examples of faith in action all around us. In our own communities, in the everyday acts of kindness and compassion that make a difference in the lives of others.
Totally, like the volunteer who spends their weekends at the local soup kitchen, the teacher who goes above and beyond to support their struggling students, or the neighbor who always lends a helping hand without expecting anything in return. These are all expressions of faith, of believing in something bigger than ourselves and acting on that belief.
It's about recognizing that spark of divinity within each of us and letting it shine outward, illuminating the world with love and compassion.
I love that. It's like faith is a light that we carry within us, and the more we nurture it, the brighter it shines, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us.
And you know, the beautiful thing is that as we act on our faith, as we stepped outside of ourselves and extend a hand to others, our own faith is strengthened in the process. It's this amazing reciprocal loop.
It's like the more we give, the more we receive. The more we invest in something beyond ourselves, the more our own lives are enriched and filled with meaning.
Exactly. And it brings us back to that initial distinction between belief and faith. Belief is a mental assent. An acknowledgement of something's existence. But faith is about embodying that belief, about letting it flow through us and into the world.
So it's not just about what we believe in our heads, but about what we do with our hands, our hearts, our lives.
That's a powerful way to put it, and I think it speaks to the transformative potential of faith. Not just for ourselves, but for the world as a whole.
Wow, this deep dive has really given me a lot to think about.
Yeah, me too.
We've explored like the nuances of faith, the challenges and the possibilities, and the incredible impact it can have when we choose to live it out in the world.
And I hope our listeners feel inspired to continue this exploration, to reflect on what faith means to them and how they can integrate it more fully into their lives.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, faith isn't about having all the answers or being perfect. It's about that unwavering trust, that deep down knowing that we're not alone, that we're a part of something much bigger than ourselves.
And that that source of love and light is always there. Guiding us, supporting us, and empowering us to live lives that are truly extraordinary.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes.
I hope you found it as enriching and insightful as I have.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you, and until next time, may your faith be a source of strength, guidance, and inspiration on your journey